As the man looked out across the wild blue yonder, he'd never felt more alone, and he wished that Adrian was there. Times were hard. We had to struggle for food to survive, and with every bite, every piece that sustained him, he wished Adrian was there. Like I said, things were really difficult and we only had one glass of wine left. But with every sip, every puff of his cigarette, the man wished that Adrian was there.
Welcome to Strip Cover Lit. I'm Adrian Fort. Dalton has abandoned me, and this is The Old Man and the Sea. I'm not sure where to go.
Baby, I'm home.
Welcome to Strip Cover Lit. I'm Adrian Fort.
And I'm Dalton Gentry.
And we're here with this week's book review. Dalton, what did we read this week?
We're going back to him. Back to Papa. This is The Old Man and the Sea by Ernest Hemingway.
Ernest Hemingway, not very popular on the YouTubes.
Which, honestly, in today's reading, Ernest Hemingway's not very popular. It's disappointing.
Yeah.
But a lot of people just gloss him over as, it's a classic author. He's good. He's good. Everybody knows he's good.
I don't understand what he wrote.
But despite popular or not, if there's a man you need to be reading, it's Hemingway.
Especially if you're a writer.
If you're a writer, you need some Hemingway. So we're just going to keep talking about it until you finally listen to us and we read some Hemingway.
Damn it!
So, Adrian.
Yeah.
Good things and bad things about The Old Man and the Sea.
3 good things. Number 1, you can read this in all of its literary glory in a single sitting.
Yes, you can.
Number 2, this is not a proud piece. This is not a sad piece. This book takes place somewhere in between those extremes. It takes place in the emotions that we live our day-to-day lives, but it is still entertaining.
Okay.
Number 3, it's stunning how well you know these characters, the setting, the stakes, and the history with how few words are actually given to us.
Okay. For good things, this is a beautiful example of every type of literature. This is man versus self. This is man versus nature. This is man versus man. This is everything rolled into one.
Just a big versus.
Just beautiful. It's not Batman versus Superman, but we can pass on that. Number 2, if you read this, it is so well written that you are on the boat with him.
Yeah.
When he is thirsty, you are thirsty. When he suffers, you suffer. And that is hard to capture as a writer. Number 3, we always talk about dialogue with Hemingway. How the dialogue's always great, it's always clean, it's always crisp. This is a beautiful example of dialogue when no one else is around. Because it's engaging, it's provoking, it reads well, but he's talking to himself.
Yeah. 3 bad things. This is completely and unapologetically Ernest Hemingway.
Yes.
There's no getting away from that here.
No.
2, maybe not a story for animal lovers. Not a lot of PETA going on here.
Not so much.
Number 3, this book was not written to make you feel good. That is not the goal here.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's a good thing, in my opinion. Bad things. If you are a non-trained reader and you're just picking this off the shelf as a piece of pop lit, it's a fishing story.
Yeah.
You can glaze over the whole thing and be like, you caught a fish. Once it's over, and I think you touched on this, you're completely defeated. You're broken as a person, as you should be. And this is a book that you never wanted to read until you actually read it.
Right.
Because I remember being in high school, people said, The Old Man and the Sea. Your lit teacher is really pushing this piece. And you're like, I'm not going to read about an old guy on the sea. I'm good.
I never had that teacher in high school,
Really?
actually, yeah.
And there's always teachers they'd always hint at, maybe you should check this one out. Or
Right.
It's like this book that none of you have read.
Right. I think that's the delicate balance that a high school English teacher has to play. what have they read? What will they read? What is an actual possibility here? So, quotes. Did you have any?
Yes, actually. There's not a bad quote in this book. This is Hemingway again. You can just pick out whatever you want. However, I do have some good ones that I appreciated, and I'm going to take a long one this time, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
I usually take the long one, so let me drone on and try not to screw it up. He always thought of the sea as La Mar, which is what people call her in Spanish when they love her. Sometimes those who love her say bad things of her, but they are always said as though she were a woman. Some of the younger fishermen, those who had buoys as floats for their lines and had motorboats, bought when the shark livers had brought much money, spoke of her as Elmar, which is masculine. They spoke of her as a contestant or a place or even an enemy. But the old man always thought of her as feminine, and as someone that gave or withheld great favors. And if she did wild or wicked things, it was because she could not help them. The moon affects her as it does a woman, he thought.
Okay.
I'm playing the feminism card today, if you don't mind. Quote.
Page 29. Why did they make birds so delicate and fine as those sea swallows when the ocean can be so cruel?
There was one more that I had that was a short one. This is from page 75. Imagine if each day a man must try to kill the moon, he thought. The moon runs away. But imagine if a man each day should have to try to kill the sun. We were born lucky, he thought. There's not a bad quote from Hemingway. It's as easy as that. Pick anything from this book, it's great.
This book, okay. I think that there are some bad quotes from Hemingway where Hemingway gets a bit too Hemingwayan.
Where he just envelops into himself.
Yeah.
I hate everything.
Yeah. The hair was thick and coarse and proud.
Thick and coarse, you bastard.
Page 66, although it is unjust, he thought, but I will show him what a man can do and what a man endures. And my final quote is from page 104. It is silly not to hope, he thought. Besides, I believe it is a sin. Do not think about sin, he thought. There are enough problems now without sin. Also, I have no understanding of it.
So, what would you like to say about this piece? As you adjust your microphone, you just flux the audio levels all over the place.
You're the editor, not me, so
thank you.
I don't feel bad about it.
I appreciate that.
I got to start getting dressed before we get on camera. You know, there's a lot made in this story about fishermen as athletes.
Okay.
Fishermen are the athletes of where it is that they're living in this society, in so much as, like on page 18 here, or page 11 here, they sat on the terrace, and many of the fishermen made fun of the old man, and he was not angry. Others of the older fishermen looked at him, and they were sad. But they did not show it, and they spoke politely about the current and the depths they had drifted along their lines. Blah, 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 blah. Like athletes, all of their victories and all of their defeats are on clear display for everyone else to see.
Yes.
These guys are coming into the harbor with or without fish. Everyone can see it. And their failures are on display. There's on page 23 the quote from the boy, there are many good fishermen and some great ones, but there is only one you. In this, the old man becomes Ole Anderson from The Killers. The old man becomes the lion in the tall grass. He's still the king, baby. He's just fading.
Okay.
Right? He's too proud to die. And when he does, he's going to do it on his terms.
And that's a very big theme in Hemingway. I mean, in his literature, in his life, it's the old man struggling with age.
Right.
And going by his own terms. Which I think is a beautiful concept if you really think about things. But you are right. The fishermen in this are portrayed as athletes, and that's something that you don't get anymore. That this was it may be in some other countries this is still a thing, but this is a lost lifestyle. You don't have the men who are living on the beach, who are going out every day fishing in their boat, bringing it in and selling it, and that's how they're sustaining themselves. This is not something you can capture anymore.
Well, I think that beyond that, much is made in this book of athletics in general.
Yes.
Right?
DiMaggio.
The great DiMaggio. There's the arm wrestling match.
Yes.
There is when he's beating off the sharks beating when he is beating the sharks away from his fish, he says, "If I only had 2 good hands and a bat," right? So there's these constant allusions to athletics, to performance, and throughout the canon of Hemingway, you've got the boxer, you've got the bullfighter, you've got the skier, etc. So, what is the athlete, right?
Okay.
He's not hunting, so he's not going for food. He's not killing in war. He's grabbing a rock and saying, I bet I can hit that water tower.
Okay.
That's what the athlete is. But why is this? Why is it so prevalent through Hemingway, do you think?
Maybe that's it. It's hard to say because we're not Hemingway, as much as we wish we were. But you write about what you love. And I think Hemingway, as the man's man, this for him, this is the quintessential test of strength, the test of will. Alongside that, this is the hunt. Not only is it athleticism, like you said, but this is the hunt. This man's survival is going to require him to net the fish.
Right.
Because he is fading. He hasn't had a fish in so long. People are pushing him off. He is no longer the man he used to be. He is going to prove himself, and he is going to live another day, and he's going to do that through this fish.
I would argue, though, that it is made clear in the story this man could be earning wages other ways.
He could be, yes.
Right?
But he is living the life he wants to live.
As an athlete.
As an athlete.
Which you say it's against him, it's a test of strength to prove himself. But it's not. It is to prove dominance.
Okay.
Is it not? Because so much is made of the other fishermen bringing in all these fish.
Okay, yes, but I still think with the dominance, there's still that inner struggle that he needs to prove this to himself again.
Right, but who does he need to prove it? Who is he really trying to prove it to?
Oh, he wants to prove it to the other men.
Everyone else.
He wants to shut him up, and he wants to be like, all right, you want to piss and moan, and you tell me I can't fish? Look at this.
That's why the
biggest
wrestling
you've
matches
seen.
happen,
Yes.
right?
And it is interesting that this man could make his living other ways, and that is noted. But he chooses this lifestyle, and he is very proud of this lifestyle.
Oh, absolutely.
When the boy says, I borrowed this and that, he says, well, we'll be sure to pay him back. We'll give him the good portion of the meat. We won't want to be, taking that because we don't want to owe this. He is a proud man who is making a living on his own. This is the quintessential man's life, what you want. You are living a life sustained by your own hand.
And I think that's a obviously it's a big thing through Hemingway.
Yes, absolutely.
But I think it's important, especially with this story, to acknowledge that. And even with Hemingway in general, we'll go back to that. Hemingway has a collection of short stories called Men Without Women, for Christ's sake.
Yes.
Right? So it's also in here The Man Alone. The man by himself, right? In addition to dominance, I think one of the things that Hemingway is clearly trying to make masculine is the need for solitude.
Okay.
Even in, excuse me, the arm wrestling match, one of the things that was very, very prevalently mentioned, which he made a big deal of, that we get the quote on page 69, "The odds would change back and forth all night, and they fed the Negro rum and lighted cigarettes for him. But the old man had no one." Right? Also, when this trip was made, he made sure he went alone.
Yes.
He made sure the kid went with the successful fisherman. So much is made of the loneliness, of solitude, right?
And loneliness has been our theme now for the last month.
Yeah.
But this is of mice and men again. This made me want to go out, get a boat, row out into the middle of the ocean, and be on my own. This is the farm. This is the man's life. What the authors are trying to capture and say, this is paradise.
Yeah. And another thing along those lines, the struggle. The paradise still comes with struggle.
Absolutely.
The struggle is constant and consistent and solitudinal, right? But you must overcome that which does come in gusts.
Okay.
Right? The black man that he's arm wrestling gets the cigarettes and gets the rum. Right? The fish, he's caught the fish goes on great runs, right?
Yes.
Powered by what? Fear. The old man makes it very plain that he does not fear.
Okay.
He made it very plain that he did not have cigarettes and rum. So the constance, the consistency of the man and solitude and dominance makes it seem like you just wake up and you're man, right? You don't need help. You don't need anybody.
And I think that really comments on work ethic more than anything. And you have a ridiculous work ethic. You have a very Hemingwayan, manly work ethic. I don't possess that at all. I gotta drag my ass out of bed and piss and moan the whole time to do anything. But reading this today, as compared to reading it when it was first published, this is a major comment on, I think, the work ethic of the time and the changes today. Because everybody's seen those current memes, is what I call, a man today versus a man in the 30s, whatnot. I highlighted this because it made me think of you. But you haven't got the boy, he thought. You have only yourself, and you had better work back to the last line now, in the dark or not in the dark, and cut away and hook up the 2 reserve coils. There is no option here. You're gonna get off your ass, and you're gonna do this because that is the only option. And you have to do this to be successful, and you have to do this to survive.
Yeah, and how inextricably linked success and survival are.
Yes.
Right? If you're not going to be successful, you better just go ahead and fucking die. Right? You better just sail off and bob along until you starve to death.
Yes.
And you're done. Because in that very quote, what is he doing? He is getting rid of all of the secondary lines with which he might catch a smaller fish to eat while this is going on. He's done with it. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. He's getting the big one, or he's dying.
Yes.
Right? Now, in the end, he does a little bit of both, right? So,
can we talk about the ending?
Well, hold on.
Okay.
I think that I've got a couple things written down here, but the big thing I want to touch on is much is made also of his ability to deal with pain.
Yes.
His work ethic is inextricably linked with the ability to deal with pain, much in the same way that success and survival are linked.
Okay.
Right? There's one that is very bad and one that is what you have to do. And they are so inextricably linked, but the man recognizes that. It's Slim drowning the puppies, right?
Yes.
In Of Mice and Men.
It's doing what has to be done.
Yeah.
And I think it really comments on he's a master of his craft. And it's always it's kind of a stereotype, and it's a shame to say it that way, but it's the old master. He may be broken down, he may not have proven himself recently, but put the boy in the scenario, and he'll get the job done.
It's the wizard.
Exactly.
Right? It's the hero from the hero's journey. And along those lines, did you happen to notice when the old man starts coming back to the homeland?
Go on.
He's gone 3 days.
Okay.
He's gone 3 days, during which time many people assumed he was dead.
Yes.
And page 121.
I hate this point because I know you're fishing at something.
Finally, he put the mast down and stood up. He picked the mast up and put it on his shoulders and started up the road. He had to sit down 5 times before he reached his shack. He's carrying the cross.
Oh, all right, I'll give that to you.
He's carrying the cross.
He is.
He's dead for 3 days.
He's resurrected. He's returned.
The interesting thing here is he carries the cross before and after. He carries the cross on the way to the boat, the mast.
Okay.
And the kid keeps saying, "Do you want me to help? Do you want me to help?"
No,
he's the good. The kid is the good Samaritan.
And you could say at this point he has been crucified by his community.
He's been hoisted out by the community.
Yes, absolutely.
He was crucified by the sea.
Oh, God. So, thank you for this. I've been enjoying my existence for the last 2 weeks away from everything, and I drop in here and you start comparing the old man and the sea to Jesus. This is exactly what I didn't want.
It's in the text.
It is. That's actually a really brilliant point that I hate you for making. Let's touch on the ending to this novel.
Okay.
The, in my opinion, beautiful and necessary ending. Because in this ending, the man has proven himself. He has defeated nature. He has defeated other men. He has, defeated his inner struggles. But he has not a damn thing to show for it.
Right.
Which is beautiful.
Here's the thing. It is mellow.
Yes.
And it is dramatic. It is not melodramatic.
And we were just talking before we started filming about the film Creed.
Yeah.
This is going the distance. This is making your name and proving yourself, but not coming out the victor.
He's going the distance.
He's going the distance. He's going for speed. Don't you start singing Cake. These hipster glasses love some cake.
One does not sing Cake.
One speaks cake loudly in anger.
And in monotone.
In monotone. But no,
He's going the distance.
That is a beautiful ending. It is. Because everything is resolved, but nothing has changed.
Right.
And that is something you don't get anymore. It's either the happy ending, where he gets home and he puts the fish on the wall and everyone cheers.
It's The Martian.
The Martian.
I got back on the ship.
I'm back.
We're going home.
Or it's just the cop-out sad ending where he caught the fish. Oh, he drowned.
Yeah.
He fell off the boat.
Right.
He was struck by lightning for impersonating Jesus.
Right.
This is an ending you don't get anymore, and I appreciate that. That is wonderful.
It feels, like we often talk about, it feels necessary.
Yes.
Right? It feels comfortable for this story. It would have been very uncomfortable if this guy brings home the biggest marlin ever caught.
Yes. And there's 2 points in the ending that I absolutely love. The final little snippet, the last little paragraph, up the road in his shack, the old man was sleeping again. He was still sleeping on his face, and the boy was sitting by him watching him. The old man was dreaming about the lions. He still got the fight. He's still there.
What do those lions represent?
Would you like to inform the viewing audience? Because
I want to hear you. I want to hear what you have to think. What you think
formulate
about
out that. That is, again, you said this is Hemingway's Hemingway Gets.
Right.
This is the safari. This is the hunt. And
the lion in the tall grass.
The
but
lion
it's not
in
the tall grass.
It's not the tall grass, no. But that's what this is. This is the safari at sea. This is the great hunt at sea. It's very Hemingway. But it works every time. It's the damn thing. One more quick little point before I let you go on about this. The 2 people walking the beach and seeing the carcass of the marlin. And where is it?
Asks what it
the
was.
woman asks,
"Is that a shark?"
I didn't know sharks had such handsome, beautifully formed tails. That is wonderful.
Right.
Because even after this life and death struggle and proving everything and giving his all, there's no appreciation from the outside world.
Right.
He did this for himself.
Well, I think he did this for his community.
Yes, the community, and the community appreciated it.
And
they saw and they measured it, they're like, what a great marlin it had to have been.
And the community doesn't care enough about the rich white woman to correct her.
Yes. Because the waiter just moves along with her. It's all good.
That's fine, she's ignorant.
It's a nice shark.
Yeah.
That's all I got for that. I really wanted to plug that. I loved it.
With the shark, or the lions, I think that it's interesting that these lions are not the lions in the tall grass.
Okay.
These are not the injured lions waiting to kill you when you come to investigate, right? These are proud and tall and something else that you can throw out there in a Hemingway fashion. Blank and blank and blank, right? He's dreaming of the glory days.
Okay.
Have they passed him?
I think yes.
He just caught the biggest fish he's ever caught.
Yes. But I think that's one of those things with age, and maybe, again, we've said this, you have to read Hemingway at different points in your life. You will never have those glory days back. You can dream about the lions all you want. You can dream about the time you were proud, you were tall, you were the king. But you're not getting them back. You can have that moment where you go back to that peak, but it is never the same as it used to be.
Okay.
So I think that it's his acceptance of things. He's still dreaming about it.
So here's a question. When he goes back and he retires in his shack, does he die?
I don't think so.
He was coughing up blood.
I don't think he dies. I want to say he's going to live to just exist again. He's never going to achieve this success again. It's going to be a struggle. I don't think he dies, though. I think it's too easy to say he dies.
I don't think it's too easy to say he dies. I don't think it's impossible to interpret that he dies. I think that it is very literary that we don't get the answer to that question.
And appreciate it. Because that is wonderful. So, The Old Man and the Sea.
Yeah.
Ernest Hemingway. What are you going to rate it?
95 big-ass marlins out of 100.
For the first time in ever, I'm going to agree with you. 95.
95?
On the money.
Whoa!
A fine read. There is no reason that you should not go to your library as soon as you finish this video, pick this up and read it today.
Again, if possible.
If possible.
If you have already read it.
If you have already read it. Apparently some people have trouble finding things at the library. We've come through the comments like people can't find Polinick. Give us your library's phone number. We'll call and yell at them.
Libraries are terrible anymore.
They are. But this is a cheap... I think I got this for like a penny on Amazon.
Really?
For like $3.99 shipping. If you can't invest $4 into this, I don't know what you're doing.
Stop reading.
Stop reading. This is the one of our, I believe, highest rated reads.
Especially by both of us.
By both of us.
I think you had Dogs of Babel as 95, and I had it as a 2.
Well, 95 is pretty modest for the Dogs of Babel, but I'll give you that one.
You're an idiot.
So, Adrian, if you liked Ernest Hemingway's The Old Man and the Sea, do you have a suggestion of what you might read next?
I'm going to surprise you with this.
Oh, God, here we go.
I took this in a different direction because it's too easy to say, if you like Hemingway, read some Hemingway. Right? The Tale of Genji.
Oh, no.
By,
Lady...
Murasaki? I could just go incredibly racist and make something up that's not anywhere close.
It's Lady M something.
Yeah.
But that is a name that I don't have to throw around.
I can't find it, but it is a tale of masculinity. It is a tale of being truly alone. And it's a tale where someone's always sad.
Okay.
Like this guy's, it is not a sad story. He's kind of a sad fella. Genji is a sad fella throughout. What about you?
A meandering tale about a philandering male. Thank you.
That is meandering tale of a philandering male. Yes.
I will never forget that. I'm just going to let you have that one. I'll give you the Tale of Genji. I don't have a recommendation for this because you need to read this.
Did you originally recommend more Hemingway? Is that why you're saying that?
Don't judge me whatsoever.
Just throw it out there. If you like
Hemingway, read more Hemingway.
All right.
Easy as that. 95 out of 100, big-ass Marlins. If you like what we have to say, comment down below. Let us know what you thought about this. If you have read this, please let us know your thoughts on it. We'd love to hear it.
Hopefully you give us a thumbs up.
If not...
People have been giving us thumbs down recently, so that's fine. That's fine. Find us on Facebook at Strip Cover Lit. Right?
And on Twitter, at Strip Cover.